Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. We do have that breaking news story for you in Multnomah Village. So we're going to have a live report from there in just a moment. But first, we do want to check in with Chris and Rod for a first look at weather and traffic.
Well, thank you. Good morning to you at home. Pretty much exactly identical conditions to 24 hours ago as we start our Wednesday. Pretty good visibility looking at the state capitol right now, 38 degrees in Salem. You can see fog clearly hunkered down over the West Hills behind the city, 36. So low clouds, fog, maybe a touch of mist to be found. Visibility map shows certainly noticeable fog from Troutdale through Portland up into Clark County and out into Hillsborough. And then you can see some more fog extending from Salem down into Eugene. Again, most of us are above freezing. We're at 36 out at the airport. East winds are expected to develop this morning, and that would eventually bring clearing skies, 42 at noon, and then clear it in the 40s at 5 p.m. Here's Chris.
Rod, we take you up to Clark County in the La Center area. This is I-5 near La Center. This is the foggiest camera that I can find. You can see the cars are still getting around it just fine. Out in Fairview, Interstate 84, fog present for you folks as well. A little farther south down in the Wilsonville area, the fog not so thick. And once again, on all of our traffic cameras, the volume out there is still pretty light, so cars are zipping around just fine. West side of Salem in Polk County, ODOT dealing with a crash right now on Highway 22. This is near Dokes Ferry Road. There is some local congestion. Give the emergency responders a little room to work. The road remains open, but obviously there's a bit of a visual distraction, and crews still on the scene. We'll keep you posted on that. But so far, guys, the freeway drive is in pretty good shape.
Thank you, Chris. Now to that breaking news out of Southwest Portland. Multiple people are without a home this morning after a fire broke out. This right here is a map of where the fire happened in Multnomah Village, as on Southwest Canby.
Ashley Grams has been there for more than an hour now. Ashley, I know you're speaking to a neighbor. In fact, I believe she may be right there with you at the moment.
Yeah, we have been out here for a couple hours or so. I just ran into Charles, who's lived here for some number of years. Charles, you said this is a really tight-knit community.
Yes, all of us know each other, maybe except for some of the renters, and those who are really actively involved in the committees, and it's mostly a volunteer community. We're not just neighbors, we're friends, best of friends. And so we have a lot of social events. We run like landscaping committee and pool committee and other things like that. And it's a wonderful way for us to get to know each other and work side by side. So and it's one of the reasons I moved here. I was invited by one of the residents, and I've never happened in all the years I've searched for a condo, never had somebody say, come here and live here.
And so you see the flashing lights this morning. Were you were pretty concerned?
I am concerned because I'm on the social committee, and we rally. If somebody has a problem, medical or otherwise, we rally the troops. If somebody needs dinners made, looked after, we do that for our neighbors.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles. We really appreciate it, giving us some perspective on the community this morning. We do know that this was a duplex, so there were 2 units. We want to show you some new photos that we've gotten from the damage. This is from Portland Fire and Rescue. We know that the residents on one side were out of town. We know that the resident on the other side safely escaped this fire. So thankfully, Portland Fire and Rescue is telling us that there were no injuries. Now, of course, there was a concern that this structure could collapse because of the severe damage from this fire. We were able to talk to Portland Fire and Rescue about what's next during this investigation.
Due to the size of the structure, the location, and the conditions of the building itself, for their safety, it's going to be a very slow process to comb through the remains of the fire.
Now, there are still firefighters and investigators on scene, as you heard there from Rick Graves, their public information officer. It's going to take them some time to go through this building just because of the dangers of that structural collapse. That the structural collapse is possible. Drew, China.
All right, Ashley Graham's live there for us this morning in Multnomah Village. We'll have more from her coming up a little bit later. Another local high school teacher is under arrest, accused of having sexual contact with a student on school property. So this time it happened in Banks. Washington County Sheriff's deputies say 66-year-old Wyman Smith is charged with second-degree sexual abuse and luring a minor. They say the district learned about these allegations last Tuesday and immediately put Smith on leave. He's also accused of having sexually inappropriate conversations with multiple other students, and authorities believe he may have other victims. So anyone with information about this is asked to contact the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
A Hudson Bay High School teacher accused of sexual misconduct and already on leave has resigned. The Vancouver School Board announced last night that Shadbrian Gadsden's resignation will take effect February 3rd. He's accused of having a sexual relationship with a student back in 2013. He was arrested last month, but the charge was dropped because of the statute of limitations. Authorities say more victims have come forward and they are still investigating.
More changes coming to the St. Helens School District as it looks for a new permanent superintendent.
The current temporary district leader announced that he will leave at the end of the month. Thomas Schultz joins us in the newsroom now. And Thomas, that ends his tenure earlier than expected, right?
Yeah, that's right, China. The acting superintendent, Stephen Webb, has only been on the job for a couple of months. He was supposed to be in the position for 90 days. Webb was appointed after two St. Helens high school teachers were arrested in mid-November on sex abuse charges. His tenure came as turmoil rocked the small school district. For weeks, parents and students expressed frustration with school leaders after those initial arrests. One of those teachers, Eric Stearns, was still working at St. Helens High when he was arrested. He now faces sex abuse charges against a dozen people. Eventually, 10 staff members were placed on leave due to allegations of sexual misconduct or for failure to report sexual misconduct. School officials say in the past 2 months, Superintendent Webb launched an investigation into the scandal and worked closely with police. They say now is a good time to transition to a superintendent who will be in place until the end of the school year.
There is no external influence on the timing of Dr. Webb's departure. He is bringing this phase one of the work to a close, and it creates the natural and appropriate transition time.
Webb's last day on the job will be January 31st. The district hopes to have a new school leader by February 3rd. Drew?
All right, Thomas Schultz live in our newsroom this morning. Meanwhile, later today, Washington's governor-elect Bob Ferguson will drop that elect part of the title when he's officially sworn into office. During a joint session of the state legislature, he'll give his first address as governor. Meanwhile, outgoing Governor Jay Inslee gave his last State of the State address yesterday. He spent 12 years in that governor's role, and he touted what he considers to be some of his biggest accomplishments, including the capital gains tax, the paid family leave assistance program, and the Climate Commitment Act, which aimed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Here's a live look from the U.S. Capitol, where President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration will take place next Monday. More than 250,000 people have tickets for the event, and law enforcement officials say that they are putting plans in place now to make sure everything remains peaceful on Monday.
We want people to come to the District of Columbia to enjoy our city, but those who break the law will be arrested and will be held accountable for their actions.
25,000 police officers and military members will be on hand, including 4,000 officers from other parts of the country. The FBI will also be monitoring any potential threats from 2 command posts in the region. And tonight, President Joe Biden plans to deliver his farewell address to the nation. He's expected to reflect on some 50-plus years in public office. Those remarks will come from the Oval Office at 5 p.m. our time. You can watch them here live on KGW or on our streaming app, KGW Plus.
While that happens in D.C. tonight, this is happening right now in North Portland. Yep, Bagel's getting ready for the day. It is, by the way, National Bagel Day, and we celebrate with a local favorite, Bernstein's Bagels. They've got that one single shop over in North Portland, and there they are, including the owner, getting those bagels ready for what they hope is a busy day. We talked a little bit about bagels in our last hour, Rod and China. I ask you both now, do you have a favorite bagel? Mine is the poppy seed, even if you get those poppy seeds in your teeth.
Yeah.
I still love something about that texture of the poppy seed bagel.
I'm a blueberry.
Blueberry?
Blueberry, but not chocolate chip or raisin. You
Okay.
get those in accident, you want blueberry and it's not.
Wow. I don't mind the raisin, but I'm with you, China. I love the blueberries. I've gotten older. I love everything blueberry. Blueberry, blueberry, blueberry.
Blueberry Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody needs to make blueberry butter. I'm sure that exists. I've never had it, but it sounds fantastic. All right, here's a look at our Lincoln City camera like yesterday morning, just showing off the fact that it's illuminated and you can see the clear skies. So if you're at the beach, you're going to have sunshine all day again today. A lot of you will get up to 50 degrees. If you have the day off, not a bad place to be. Here's a look from our Pioneer Park building camera. And you can see good visibility down low. We certainly have clouds and some fog looking off to the horizon. We're above freezing. We're 36 degrees. Now, there are some cold spots. Forest Grove, you're at 30. Good morning. Battleground, Camas, right there. Sandy's 32. Tigard, Sherwood, West, and Wilsonville so far holding in the mid-30s. Salem's above freezing. Dallas, good morning to you. 35 is your temperature. Winds are light. Really just the same start we had yesterday morning. What will change today, though, is east winds are starting to show up. They're blowing in the West Gorge, at least to Corbett. And we think there's enough east wind eventually developing later this morning to clear Portland and up into Vancouver around midday. But it could remain cloudy as you drop away from the gorge down into Salem, Albany, and Eugene. The sunshine at the coast, sunny 51 in Bend. We have a low cloud, what I call low cloud lockdown for the temperature inversion, which includes Pendleton back into the Dallas Hood River and parts up into central and eastern Washington. We will be under the low clouds today. All right, well, assuming we get the sun by midday, 48 the high, and then we still have a completely dry 7-day forecast. Notice the east wind verbiage Saturday, Sunday, and also on Dr. Martin Luther King Day on Monday. And we've been talking about these really cold lows coming. So Monday morning, 26 here in Portland. Some of you would be 21 degrees. 43 in the afternoon. It will be sunny, but the east wind will add a chill to the air. And that's your update.